I'm here. Trying to find all the right buttons. That's what I'm trying to do. Turn the volume up. There we go. Add some brightness. Woo! Just so bright today. So bright. Thank you, everybody, for coming on in. Oh, what a morning. What a morning. Yeah, I hope you all have your coffee, tea, water, matcha, chai, and thank you for watching the replay in the morning, afternoon, evening, or maybe it's tomorrow, whenever tomorrow is. Will tomorrow ever come? Does tomorrow come? Interesting question. So on our walk this morning, and the thing is, my husband spotted her, and then I grabbed it and I took a picture, and I thought she was just laying there, but she wasn't. It was a beautiful deer, and she was injured. So I had to call the Fish and Wildlife to go and get her and pick her up. So I'm not sure if she's passed away now or not, but the poor thing, I don't know what happened, if she got hit by a car or what have you. She was on the side of the tracks. Yeah, poor thing. It's just, I hate to see things like that. So that was my morning. And trying to get through to Fish and Wildlife was just, I called 311, and then she patched me through. And then in the patching me through to get to them, there were all of these different numbers to call. And so finally, I left a message with one of them, and they called me back so they could give me the 1-800 number to dispatch it to the Calgary Fish and Wildlife to go pick her up. So, and that took, it's 10:30 now. That's probably 9:30. That's 2 hours. 2 hours of me trying to get through to get to somebody to pick her up. So poor thing. So blessings out to the poor deer. I said a prayer, as I was there, and sending her spirit onto the other side, and that for her to be received and be without pain. So, but it's hard when you see something like that. It's such innocent life, right? In that. And yeah, so my morning was about deer. And it's funny, I've been seeing deer everywhere. And I mean, everywhere. I mean, in our neighborhood here, there was deer, all over the place. So it's been crazy, the amount that's been around. And so deer is the symbolism of family, and being close to family. And what does family mean? And that connection with family and protection. So deer bring in, talk about the protection in that. So, and he is so this is where, so just one sec, I'm getting text. So So I don't know. Anyways, they can figure their shit out. Anyways, all right. Anyways. Okay. So the energies today, what are the energies like today? First of all, before I go on, because my kids just distract me, and that's what happens when I'm on a live, shit happens. First of all, tarot class tomorrow. So I did send out the link to a lot of people yesterday. There's a couple more people I have to send the link out to. So the link's been sent out. And then we have the virtual retreat of the vision board coming up, and that is I'm going to rename it to Journey Club 2.0, because it is a it is a new it's a restructured of the Journey Club. So if anybody's taken the Journey Club before, this is a restructuring of the Journey Club, and it's like Journey Club 2.0, but we're going to learn how to do a vision board and create a vision board with that. Plus with the tarot class tomorrow, which is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And it's going to be probably from 10 to 4, it might be 10 to 3, because I know some people said they won't be able to make it. And so sometimes, you know, when you have a smaller class, things just go a little bit faster and stuff. So it's fully recorded for people. So you will receive the recording of it as well. So we have that's happening tomorrow. Please let me go. It's only $17. And if you have been interested in learning the tarot, this is a fabulous class to actually learn about the tarot. And I'm going to just grab I'm not sure what this one is. I got a couple decks. I got decks all over the house. Put those seeds back. So I got a couple packages here. I don't know what deck that is. Have no idea. But in learning the tarot, it is a very, it's a beautiful to learn how to read it. Oh, this is my witch's deck. Yeah. So this is the witch's deck that I have. And when you're working with a deck, once you learn the tarot, you can pick up any deck and read it. That's what's so beautiful about the tarot. Yes, I will be doing a course on oracle cards. Now, oracle cards are different in learning how to read it. That's why a lot of people who created their tarot decks, they do special classes and stuff, because every oracle deck is different. So in learning how to read it. And for the oracle one, I'll probably be using like Colette Baron Reed's, or even if people have old Doreen Virtue cards, I'll be using, you know, I can bring those in as well. And if anybody has a specific oracle deck and they're having difficulties with it, bring it. I can help you to teach you how to read it. So we'll be doing that. I'm not sure of the dates of that one as of yet. So, these guys are all jumpy today. So the thing is about tarot deck. The one thing is that if you pick up a card, you basically know how to read it. All right. So we know this is like, it's the witch. It's the major arcana one. And so the number one, it's number one. So 0 is the Fool and 1 is the Magician. She's a magician coming in with all the magic. And you can see, because there's still the symbolism there as well. So you know that she's creating something. She's a magician. You know, the witch is like a magician, and she's creating something. What is she creating? How is she creating that? What do you want to create? And of course, there's different things in here. We have a crow. We have a cauldron. We have, she's holding the wand. So there's a lot of information within that. The tree that's behind there. What kind of decisions are you going to make? Do you know what's in her pot? Do you want to work with what's in her pot, or do you want to create something else on your own? Those are the kinds of things we're going to be talking about tomorrow. We're going to be going through different layouts and questions. So we're going to be talking about the different types of 2 specific of the most used spreads in tarot. So we're going to be talking about them tomorrow. The 3-card spread and the Celtic Cross. Those are the 2 favorite ones that people usually use. So we're going to be talking about them. And then what kind of questions people ask, and going through different scenarios with those questions and pulling your cards out and reading them. You're also going to get a journal book to go with this. And the journal book, it is somewhat basic, but it gives you the, it's a PDF. So it gives you sort of the basics of working with the tarot. So you'll be getting that, and then the outline and everything of what the course is. So you'll be getting all of that with the course, and it's only $17. So I think that's pretty good money for your value. Plus you get me from 10 to 4. Woohoo! So I'm a cheap date tomorrow if you want to join me, and you might even get a reading out of it. Can't beat that. So we have that's happening tomorrow. So if you're wanting to join me, let me know. As I said, it's $17.00. So we have that's happening. Little bit about today. So let's talk about the energies as they go in. And I had a huge aha today because there's a couple things. Okay. With the energies today, there's a lot of emotion that's going on because the moon is squaring lovely sun. So we have the moon square as it's building up to a solar eclipse. Now, this solar eclipse is going to go right over Texas. So we're going to be seeing over the next 6 to 8 months a lot of cray that's going to be happening in Texas. So we haven't seen it already, with what's happening in Texas. So a lot more craziness and things that are happening over in Texas. So that's, there's a lot of interesting energy that's going to be coming out from that area as well and into those southern states. So if you live in any of the southern states, you're going to be starting to witness a lot more of the craziness that's going to be coming out. So that's Florida and Texas. I don't know what other states are around there. So I'm going to say if you know them and you live in them, just watch out for them. I guess I got to pull up a map so I know. And so we have that. I got a lot of hair, man. It's just driving me crazy. And it's too much hair. This is why I keep my hair up, but it just was getting to me. The other thing is that we have the sun is in a quincunx over to Jupiter. And Jupiter is sextiling the moon, which is nice because Jupiter would like to be in Cancer because it's exalted. The moon would change places and likes to be exalted because it's in for Taurus. So it's a really nice mutual reception. So there's a lot of things that you can work on to build on and build something there. As we are coming into a square to Pluto. So Mars is coming into a square to Pluto. And coming into the square of Pluto is really, I just get mind-boggling and mind-blowing and so much that's going to come from this, especially when it comes to diplomacy, when it comes to the world and construction of the world and how it has to do with, corporations and government and things along that line. So there's a lot that's going on there. And that sort of gives me a segue to what I got as a aha today, because it's like, I don't want to get too political here because so much is happening on all of these platforms and so much is changing on all of these platforms. If you didn't see what Zuckerberg is really promoting, with the new glasses, the Ray-Ban glasses, and also the new metaverse and things like that, really big promoting that on using the metaverse as communication and things. So that's quite a weirdness, but that's becoming a big push. Which is very Pluto in Aquarius. We're going to be seeing more and more of that over the next 20 years in the buildup of that. And these little things are going to be starting. You're going to start seeing them. Things like, it's already happening. You can get a subscription in some of the newer vehicles, especially higher end vehicles. I think you can get Chat GPT in there and you could talk to chat as you're driving. And it's like $129 US a month for that subscription. And you can get a few other things along with that to have in your vehicle. So it's things like that. You're going to be seeing more and more of that happening and more of these types of subscriptions happening. Things are going to be becoming very subscription based on how you receive your information. So by November 29th, all Canadian YouTubers, podcasters have to register with the government. So you have to be registered for the government if you are a YouTuber. I don't know. I guess I'm a YouTuber. I don't have a lot of followers, but I'm a YouTuber. But, otherwise you have to look at other platforms. Uh, and one of the reasons they kind of let TikTok go right now is it's almost like to use it in some way. So they're using TikTok for information, different influencers that are on there, how many subscribers are on there, and utilizing them to get information out. That's the best way to put it. And changes for subscriptions are hugely going to change. So that's why you're going to see YouTube is going to be changing a lot of their rules and how they do things, because they are a corporation and they have so many people upon that platform. In order for them to continue doing what they do, they are going to have to apply with the Canadian government in order to keep that platform going, I believe. And same with like Rumble. Rumble's a very difficult one. I don't know how long Rumble's going to last, but it's a very difficult one to maneuver. Plus, it costs a lot of money to really put anything up there on Rumble. And if you get so many people subscribing to your or watching it in one day, it's like it goes by the terabytes. And if you used all the terabytes in one day, your information is not going to get out there unless you're going to pay for it again, kind of thing. So Rumble is very heavily is a heavy cost to really getting your stuff out there onto Rumble. That's why a lot of people love to come on to YouTube, because it's an easy platform. It's an easy platform to utilize. It's easy to get your information out. Yes, they do have the algorithm and they do have a lot of things on there that they watch you and everything else. They watch you everywhere. But you're going to be seeing things like YouTube. It just things are going to be changing, and the way that they're going to change. And I know Apple wanted to buy, there's something to do with Apple, but Apple would rather buy Google, because then they automatically get YouTube in the package, kind of thing. So that's going to be interesting in how that all turns out. And that's within the next couple of years, even could be sooner, with a lot of the changes that are going to be happening with that. Now, I know with cable and stuff like that, definitely changes within the cable system and how you receive your cable TV. What does that look like? I think that's going to really fall to the wayside, and it's going to be more of the streaming apps and where you pay for the apps. So that's why you're going to find companies or cable companies are going to be scrambling, because they really want a piece of this market. And because so much is going to be changing within that market, and everything's going to be online. Everything's going to be online. And I can see that that's going to be happening very quickly here, especially after November. So we have that's going on. The other part too, and I've been telling people this, is the market, is the money, and making sure you got you got your basic supplies, because this next quarter, that's one of the reasons why I'm doing Journey Club 2.0, the vision board, in October. It's that this next quarter you're going to be the crunch is on. The crunch is on. And when I look at the astrology and with Pluto and the square to Mars, the crunch is on through all of this. This is where, even with our lovely PM making jabs at a political provincial leader, not towing the line, basically, or he doesn't like the way that that person speaks out, is trying to make jabs and trying to get control. So there's a reason why, and there was a pipeline, a gas pipeline that just went through, and they were, in getting it through, they got it through easily. There wasn't any big squabbles about it or anything. That in some ways wanting to squash it in many ways, even though it's up and running and things are moving along with that. But you're going to be seeing, and this is going back, this is why history is so important, right? So just lost sound. um, Probably because of what I just said. It's going to be interesting to see how things are going to work, right? And understanding that back in the 30s, this is where when the stock market, did its little dive, and the government wanted the gold, right? Things were gold back and they wanted the gold. And when this all happened, they closed the banks for 6 days. And the banks were not allowed to open up right away because they had to redo things. They had to refinance things. And it's only going to be the bigger banks that will be opened after 6 days, and then the sub banks will be able to open after, I think, 14 days. And then, we don't have a lot of different banks here in Canada, but you'll see it in the States. Where banks that like are C-rated or something, they're going to be gone. So this is where, if you ever wondered why, and they changed the value of what gold was too back then. So then you got to think, what is our dollar backed by now? And it's not gold, you know. And this is part of the restructuring. This is all part of, with that Pluto, part of the restructuring. They're getting you to be aware of the restructuring. It's oil. And how many barrels of oil or reserves they have in the States? 17. What is the legal amount that they can go down to without things going astray? Yeah, well, which is great, but I just, hear me out. Like, yeah, definitely, have your gold, have all of that. Definitely have your cash, spend with cash, do all of that. Um, you got to look at it this way. I'm trying to say this so I don't, is that once it goes down to 13 barrels in the United States, everything gets shut down. That's it. Now I see everything crashing like fully out by the end of next year. And this is where you start to look at what has value. And it'll be the government, because the government, once they start doing this, it's like they're going to be putting value on things. And what has value? Things that have a title have value. Things that have a title have value. And, corporations and what they own. So what makes McDonald's rich? It isn't the burgers that it sells, it's the land. Right? It's the land that they own. That's what McDonald's is. McDonald's is a landowner. They buy the land, they lease it back to the franchisees. He has to pay the amount on that land and the taxes on that land. McDonald's doesn't. It's a really beautiful corporate setup that they've done, right? So the thing is that you're going to find with things, if they're wanting to reset, if they do, maybe they don't, maybe things are just going to carry on the way they are. You just never know. Just maybe, then what will happen is that, and if I'm explaining this right, I'm probably not, because I'm not, it's hard for me to explain these things. I know them. It's just to explain them in words. So like McDonald's, you own your house, right? They come in and they say, hey, so you know what? You got a $5,000 mortgage. We're putting it down to 500 for you. But the thing is, at the end of your life, it's like a reversed mortgage. At the end of your time, or after you've lived there, maybe you do give it to the next generation. You're allowed to give it to one generation. We'll give you a 99-year lease on your place. But you know what? And we're going to put some money in your bank account that's going to look like $1 million. So that way, yeah, you're happy, but guess what? You don't own your house anymore. You don't own that land anymore. The government does. So if the government goes down to 13 barrels, and what else has the government done, in the States? They stopped all drilling in Alaska. They don't want to build up their reserves. So we're seeing that, Pluto's trying to show us this. So this could be like, even here, it's like, yeah, sure, everybody's scrambling. We need a house. Everybody's scrambling. But it's going to be where when the government has to shut down and they have to re-leverage things and redo things, land is so valuable. Why do you think Hawaii burned? It's the land. It's the land. Why do you think the Yukon is burning, or the Northwest Territories is burning? It's the land. And what does the Yukon have that is resourceful? I mean, you can't really grow things up there in the Yukon. They don't have a long enough season. But what are their resources up there? They have a lot of resources. They have a lot of mines. They got oil. So there's a lot of resources. And in order to take that back. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, what about the natives? What about them? When you have an influx into your country of people who are not educated, really, and are really willing to work and do anything, and they're all young men, not families, coming into your country. Well, what a better way to break down your economy? They're having it in Switzerland right now. This is the wake-up call. And this next quarter is going to be very difficult financially for people. People are not going to have money to spend. And what better way to have a lockdown when nobody has money to spend? You're not locked down. You could still go out. But can you go out? Do you have the money to go out? Do you have the money to spend? Why have a streaming service that's going to blow up? Well, people are home. What they can spend their money on is some form of entertainment. This is what I've been trying to tell people. But people are going to be going, and it's like, the sad part is, just like the elixir, it's like, oh, well, I guess I have to. This is so much easier. I just want life to get back to normal. And that's what we're going to be witnessing over the next 3 months. We're going to be witnessing that. We're going to be seeing that. And the way to do it is definitely make sure you have your stuff. Make sure you are stocked up. But spend with money. Do not, try not to use your debit card. Spend with money only. You got to pay for something? Use cash. Use cash. Leave in there what you need to for your bills, and that's it. Spend cash. Start utilizing cash. Because when you start doing that, you're breaking the system that they're trying to create. Because there's an influx of cash. They can't, it's out there. It's mobile, right? So the more you do that, the more that's sort of like, it's the consumer. You are the one that can create the difference. When you band together, you create a difference. So you go somewhere, you pay with cash. Your groceries, you pay with cash. You're going to Canadian Tire, you pay with cash. Don't be using your card. That's one of the biggest things that you're going to find that's going to make the hugest difference in the next coming months that could hopefully reverse this all. Because they're going to back the large landowners, the big ones. Because they're going to be easier to control, because most large landowners, they're corporations. If you own a lot of land, make yourself a corporation. I've said that before. If you own a lot of land, make it a corporation. If you're a farmer, make it a corporation. Why do you think dentists are corporations? That's the biggest way to protect yourself, because corporations has value, land value. You as a homeowner will not have that value that a corporation does. You own zero money. When I was hearing this and listening to other astrologers, and then the Leo King was talking about this, and a few other astrologers were talking about this, it started to click in my head, and it started to make sense of why I kept seeing things being dismantled and what it was really, truly, and meaning, and what that meaning is. And it doesn't matter. You could have your home paid off. You can have your home paid off, but you don't own your home. You don't actually own your home. And that's the whole thing. It seems like it. And they'll say, here's a line of credit. Well, of course they want you to have a line of credit, because they can then pull it and then they can take your home. And that's the craziest. Oh, look at that little boop I did. Ooh, didn't mean to do. Oh, well, looks different. And that's the things that people have to realize. And in what they are doing. So if you're doing, you have to have it as a corporation, because the government's going to look at you differently as a corporation. And if you're doing something as a corporation, or if you're opening up your own thing, try and see if you can own the land that it's on, or the building that it's in. That's your best bet. Then you're going to have more leverage with everything as it comes down the chute. I'm just giving, if you don't believe me, you can listen to Neil McCoy, you can listen to Economic Ninja, you can listen to Bob Moss, all of these guys who are out there, and these guys have millions of dollars and they know what the hell they're talking about, because they've built it up, and they talk about it all. They tell you to have money, diversify your bank accounts, make sure you have gold and silver and stuff if you can, and do that. I mean, this is all part of to be diversified, if you're able to do that. And if you're able to create what you needed to create. I love what my dad did, because he owned his own limit. He had his HD Merrick LTD. So he had a limited. But what he also did is that in his home, he made his home, because he had an office in there. So he made part of his home the corporation. And I didn't think anything of it at the time, but I'm like, oh my God, that is brilliant. How smart. So that's not only giving him a write-off, but he also had his corporate office, and he leased his office to himself. Your home will, yes, then your home will be, your office will be public. It's a corporation, but you have a less chance of the government stepping in and taking it, because that's what you're going to find. They're going to reverse. It's going to be where if you own something, it's like, oh, you want to have this house? You don't need any money. We'll let you have this house, but you got to pay this amount of money. And those who own a house, let me reduce what you pay. Oh, well, that's so much easier. but this is what's going to happen. But people aren't going to worry about what's going to happen in 100 years from now. Well, let them worry about it. Very similar to what people do when they go on to native land. You have to lease the land. And once that lease is up, it goes back to them. So basically it's leased land that you'll be on. You won't have the ownership of it. And that's going to be an interesting piece to it all. And I can't play publicly what I was listening to because it was on a private platform. So otherwise I would. But I just get really dinged for what I was listening to because it's on a private platform. And that's the thing is like most platforms now, and then most corporations, they're asking for them to have their own card. And so they, in order for people to utilize, so you become like, corporations become their own individual banks. And then that's how the government is able to have control and get money. You know, and this is another way of setting up the 10-minute cities. So it's very interesting. I mean, I know I'm not very good at explaining this shit, but I know that the shit's coming down and you're going to be witnessing it and you're going to be seeing less and less. And this weekend is Thanksgiving weekend in Canada. And a lot of people are already complaining they can't afford to have a Thanksgiving weekend. So if they can't afford to buy food for this weekend, like a lot of people are like, oh, well, okay, we can't have the turkey. We're going to have this, or, you know, it's like, okay, maybe we'll get the turkey now. I'll have a turkey only at Christmas time kind of thing. So people are going to be making compromises on where they put their money and what they do with their money. So that's going to be a huge one for people. And it's after November 28th, there's going to be a lot of stations, a lot of things. You're not going to hear from people. I don't even think I'll be able to go on YouTube. And I don't have enough people subscribed to go and subscribe to my TikTok. So you need over 1,000 followers in order for you to go live on TikTok. So yeah, it's and same with YouTube. You need over 1,000, but then it's like right now, it's not TikTok is not a platform like YouTube. So that's interesting. So people like Tim Pool, who is a podcaster, has set up his own platform. So you could go subscribe to his own platform. People like Joe Rogan are going to do very well because they're on Spotify. And Spotify has paid him millions of dollars for him to have that platform there. And they're not going to, deplatform him and take him off that platform. Many people have tried and it's like, well, whatever. So people like that, like Joe Rogan's going to be fine. You got different ones like, I know the Leo King, I know he's going to be going through, he'll be fine. Because they have their own platform. They set up their own studio in order for them to do what they do. And I know people are going to say, well, why didn't you do? Well, I've never been, and as I said to my husband today, I've never been in a financial situation that I've been able to do that. And my life has been always a little bit of a topsy-turvy type of energies. That's not a very good excuse, but my other thing is I think sometimes I have to be the little fish that just keeps on swimming in order to get information out and talk and get people information and be that teacher and help to lead people into a better way, a brighter way, and stepping more into their light, into their journey and their spiritual journey. And part of that spiritual journey is that you have to be understanding what's going on in this world, what's happening with the money, what's happening with the stock market. Why isn't anybody, again, spending money? A lot of people, little markets, I think they'll do well for a little bit, but people aren't going to be spending the amount of money they used to spend at the markets. So there's going to be things like that that are going to be happening with markets and stuff like that. Christmas markets, I think people will go there, but mainly go there to get ideas to try and do it themselves. DIYs are going to do very well because people are going to start learning how, again, very similar, but more so, like more, okay, how can we create our own? What can we create? What can we do? So those types of things are going to do extremely well. Platforms like Pinterest and things like that probably will do extremely well because people are going to be going on to them and learning how to do things and learning how to create Christmas wreaths to cookies, things like that. Etsy, I think they're going to be, it's kind of a topsy-turvy one. I'm not too sure on Etsy. It's going to be a price point. It's going to be a price point. But if it goes down to 13 days of reserves, and we're just on the cusp of that, we haven't seen it go up because in order for it to go up, that means they have to do drilling. But Biden stopped all the drilling and is not giving any sure, I'll give you here, you can go over here, but I'm not giving you the lease to drill or the right to drill or give you the business permit, the permit to drill. Like you can set up there, but I'm not going to give you the permit. So why am I setting up there? Why aren't oil companies paying or going in to fix things, right? Why? Because they can't trust the government. They can't trust that. Reserves of what? Oil reserves, right? I read some there was a call for oil and gas. I read somewhere there was a call for oil and gas. It's what do you mean there was a call for? Yeah, there is a call for oil and gas. It's where, like, even as much as Alberta's pushing back for the rest of the country and wanting to remain sovereign, this is where you're going to see this could cause a revolt. This could cause where you're pushing back on a man who doesn't care, does not care. And that could be a great cause for some form of military lockdown. Because the thing is, if the United States dollar goes, what do you think Canada's tied to? Our dollar's tied to? It's tied to the United States. So if it goes, and they start closing, because in 1929, when the stock market crashed, it crashed here too. People lost millions of dollars and they couldn't, people were jumping off of buildings here in Calgary because of it, and they couldn't control it. So this is where, and things got locked down and people wanted cash. They wanted their money, but there's no money to be given out. That's why they did IOUs, and they started doing IOUs. And then they started to give some form of bonds to the people because they wanted to make it look legit. But the thing is that even though they gave it back to you, it was worthless. It's like they took your gold and renamed the gold, or redid the gold. And redoing the gold wasn't worth anything. Gold was hardly even worth anything. Like when I was a kid, gold wasn't worth a lot of money. It was worth money, but it wasn't worth what it is today. It wasn't until after Nixon went to the fiat, to the oil backing, which really threw everything into a loop and threw the world into a loop when he did that. Now, this is coming into another reset, but the thing is that, and when he did that, the debt in the United States was extremely high. Where do you think the debt is right now? The debt is extremely high, and they want to get it high so they can throw things in and do a whole reset. And in doing the whole reset, that means that they can come in and say, what do you own? Oh, you own land? Thank you very much. Because I only gave you the lot to, and you could build on that lot, but the government still owns the lot. Indian reserves are not owned by the natives. It's owned by the government. It's fucked. And when you look into it and you look at how the energy is going, it's like saying there is a whole big reset coming in. And the reset isn't, from those other idiots saying it's a reset. This is a reset that's coming in, that the energies are saying that there has to be a reset. There has to be a new way of doing things, a new way of governing, a new way of acknowledging people and creating and coming together. But human beings are dense, and we're dense energy. So it takes a lot for the light to get through. So it takes a while for us to get in there and really get together. But when we do, when you can band together to make the change, this is why you had the French Revolution. This is why you had the American Revolution, is that people wanted to make a change. They wanted to create something new. And I'm not saying that it's like when they do this, it's not going to bring a revolt, but yes, it's going to be in a revolt. A huge one. Why is Ukraine so important? It's a belt. It's a thing that holds things together. It's a belt. Think of the words that they use. It's a belt. It has wheat, it has farmland, it is fertile land. They need the fertile land. And most of the money that is going to Ukraine right now is not just going to the government, which is also corrupt, but it's going to other American corporations that are already there set up. And it's going there to fund the people there and pay people there, pay people who are in emergency response, pay doctors, pay ambulance drivers, pay the firemen. They're getting paid by American dollars. It's the new colony. It's crazy when you look at this. And then we're coming up. We're coming up to what? We're coming up to what? We're coming up to a solar eclipse that's only about that much away from being a pure solar eclipse. Over Texas. What does Texas have? Oil? It's a big state. Texas is. And what are they doing in Texas? What are they allowing in Texas? Open the fucking border. Telling the Border Patrol to cut that razor wire, cut it, let the people through. And the next thing you got 300, 400, 1,000 people coming through in less than half a day. How is your country, how are you going to sustain those people? Immigration is what makes a country. But immigration done in a way that helps to create and build a country and build the infrastructure, not to allow them to come in and go willy-nilly all over the place, especially when they are fighting aged men. Fighting aged men. That's how you take down a government. That's how you take down a country. You have them come in. They're doing it in Italy. They're doing it in Spain, and they're doing it in Switzerland or Sweden. I always get those two mixed up. Sorry. And there was a warning about that. Even lovely Mr. Trump warned about that. A couple years ago, he was talking about it. And then it's happening. Huge wake-up calls. Huge wake-up calls. This is why it's so important to make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's. This is so important because you know what? Why does Little Miss O own so much freaking property? She said, and I remember her talking about it, about what is her wealth. Her wealth is land, because land is limited. When something is limited, it is worth something. When somebody has a lot of land, they become a corporation. and they buy it under the name of the corporation. Do you think that's in her name? Fuck no. No. So can they come in and take it? No. Bill Gates buying up all the land. Why? How is he doing it? He's putting it under his corporate name and it's different companies. Right? That's what they're doing. And people get scared. It's like, oh, well, I can't do that. If you own anything more than 40 acres, I would say more than 20 acres, I'd make it some sort of corporation. Chicken clucking farm. Or something, right? But that's the thing, because if it's not, they can come take it. And that's what's going to be happening in the next 2 years. And by 2025, we're going to be at the height of the war. The height. Because right now, we're entering into the deepness of the depression starting in this last quarter. And it's going to hit fucking hard. Fucking hard. Why am I teaching these courses for cheap? So people can learn how to utilize the magic, learn how to utilize your light, learn how to utilize the things that you need within inside yourself, because that's where the power is. The power is in the light, not in the darkness. When you learn to trust your light, you get into your light, you learn to be able to do the things that you need to do. And you learn how to use the mundane world. You have to understand this world. You can't go around willy-nilly and thinking, oh, all the fairies and all the unicorns are going to fix things. No, they're not. I love unicorns. I love fairies. But you got to come down here on the earth and learn how to use the earth. And learn how to use the laws in your way, because there's ways of utilizing them. And if you're learning that, if you're understanding that, there's great prosperity and abundance for you. There's greatness that you can start to do. That's going to be the importance. That's going to be the one that you need to start looking at. The more you start doing that, the more you start to create your power. And that's where it's at. I'm not saying I'm the only teacher that's doing that. There's a lot of other teachers that are doing that out there. There's some really brilliant teachers that are going to be doing that, but you're also going to see a lot of teachers are going to get scared and they're going to go to the wayside. You're not going to hear from them very much, or they're going to lose their shit in some way, and they're not going to be around, which is going to be sad because we need them. But I know there's going to be quite a few. And the ones that are out there are still running. That's where you got to tiptoe through the tulips and watch out for the landmines, because a lot of them will be planted. That's what they told me, planted. So they got me tiptoeing through the tulips. So this is the craziness of the energies right now, and it's coming in and allowing yourself to be aware of the craziness of the energies and wake up. So tomorrow is the tarot class. You're interested? You can sign up for $17. Lots of handouts will be given to you to help to guide you along your way. Why the tarot? Because the tarot is always constant and it never lies. That's what I found personally. The other course, the journaling one, I want to start it on Tuesday. I haven't done any advertising or anything for it as yet. I just haven't had time. I'm a one-man band. So I can only do so much. But I also have the Vision Board virtual retreat on the 21st and 22nd. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. And that's Journey Club 2.0. So let's pull some cards. Let's pull some cards, baby. Ten of Pentacles. Beautiful card. Look at that. So family's there. Who's your family? Who are the people you want around you? This is a person who's worked really hard for his life, really hard for his family. And he's got his family behind him, and he's enjoying his grandkids, and he's enjoying his garden and everything that he has created. Learn how to protect the things that you have created, the things that are meaningful to you. Learn how to protect that. And as you're doing that, the Five of Chalice. You know, as you're doing that, there's going to be things that you're wanting to keep, things that you think should be. It's got to be this way. I want to have those, but don't be crying over spilt milk, because there's more there for you that's going to take you on a better journey. You know, look at, you got the little bunny all upset with that too. So you got the bunny's upset. Bunny's looking at that. So don't be crawling, don't be crying over the spilt milk. Look, that there's a basket there. There's 3 chalices there. There's a beautiful way of doing it. But you might get hung up on all these crazy details and get hung up on all of that and forget, why am I creating this? What am I creating what I'm creating for? What is the purpose that I'm creating this, right? And it could be a legacy. What is that legacy? And what does that legacy mean to you, right? So look at that and know that there's just so much there for you to offer. And with that comes the Hangman. That means there's going to be new ways of you having to look at things. But the Hangman is a difficult one. Nobody likes to get the Hangman because it means that you really have to take a step back. The Hangman gets you to look at things in new ways and understand there's a cycle for everything. We're in a downward cycle right now. We're in a cycle and I've explained this a long time ago, where how everything is and where Pluto is gone, it's gone to the underworld. And it's going to take a couple 100 years for it to get up to the top, or even longer. So we're in a cycle that is in the underworld. We're in a cycle that has to bring in that light into the underworld in order for us to create and say, no, you're not going to overtake me. You're not going to stop me. And I'm going to continue to be my shining light. I'm going to continue that because I have something to give to others. I have something to do. And I'm not going to sit around and cry over spilt milk because things aren't going the way I want it to go. I know there's other things. There's something more. And with that, there are going to be things that you're going to have to walk away from. Remember what was, appreciate what was, and then move forward. Appreciate what was, embrace the past, understand the past so you can move forward. And in understanding that and moving forward, you're going to create a lot of beauty within your life. All right. So let me know if you want to book a reading. I know this seems like a very harsh message and but we're heading into a lot more craziness as my printer just decided to go and print. I don't know what it's printing, but anyways, or it's just readjusting. No, it's realigning. It's not printing. So anyways, may the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you and all you say and all you be and all you do. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of my community. Thank you for allowing me to come here. And if you are wanting to subscribe to my newsletter, please get a hold of me. You can send me your information at thegurumama@gmail.com, because that might be the only way I'm able to stay in touch after November into December. We'll see what happens, unless I get 1,000 people on TikTok and then go from there. But we'll see how things unfold in the coming days. God bless and the goddess bless. Bye-bye, everyone. Woohoo.